What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video, and today we're going to talk about two sneaky little techniques for the fall time of year if the bite is a little tough, which sometimes it can be for some of us. And this is just a way to get some fish. Now, first of all, if you're seeing fish on the graph up in the water, we got a technique for that, sleeper technique. Okay, you probably haven't seen this one. The other one is if you're not seeing fish, but there's bait around, we're going to assume there's fish and they're just sucked up tight to the bottom. Okay, if you're new to the channel, you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down there. Join the Average Angler community. Thanks for stopping in and taking time out of your day to watch the video. I really appreciate it. From the previous videos, bait's very important, okay? I'm not going to stop and fish somewhere where I'm not seeing bait in the area. Bait is just a driving force for the bass, whether it be shad, bluegill, whatever your forage species may be, or crawdads. Now, crawdads obviously much harder to see on the graph. I'm not going to claim I can see them, but if you're in the right types of areas for the crawdads, there's a pretty good chance they're around. Let's get into sleeper technique number one. Okay, I'm going to use the Fat Pack Baits Fat Swimmer. You can use whatever swim bait of your choice. That's a 3.8. And what we want to do with this is we're going to Nico rig it with a light Nico rig. Okay, we want that bait to kind of just glide down to the bottom, and it'll circle and it'll do all kinds of weird stuff. We're going to fish it on a spinning rod, and you want to fish it with your line free so that that bait can do whatever it wants to do. So we got a light nail weight, like a 1/32 on a spinning rod. I like to use like an iRod 722 Air with 15-pound braid to 10-pound leader, and that bait's just going to kind of glide and do all kinds of weird things, much like a dying bait fish. And hey, that's what we're trying to mimic. A lot of times these bass are keyed on those weak or dying shad out of the schools in the fall time of year. Could be because they got beat up by a previous bass trying to eat them. It could be that they're dying for some other reason, which is common in the fall. That's a sneak technique. Like if your crankbaits, those kinds of things aren't triggering, you could try a glide bait. If that's not triggering, you just can't seem to figure out how to get them to eat. That's a great little technique to give a try because it's sneaky. Not many people are doing it, and it works. It's very natural. The next technique, and this again is after I've exhausted my other means, meaning a deep diving crankbait. Maybe you've tried an underspin, can't get those fish to trigger that are down deeper. I am going to go to the finesse jig. Okay, this one happens to be the Kitech. Now you can use, one of my favorites is that Beastie Bug. That's the Beastie Bug Junior. Depending on your fish, you can go with the Beastie Bug Junior or the Beastie Bug, which is the next size up. I'm going to fish that on a very specific iRod 753 Air. Okay, I also have a Quercus in the 753. Very good rod options. This is an 8 to 12 pound rated rod. It says on here. This one says 10 to 18. Okay, I'm generally going to be fishing this. I'll go down to 10. Generally going to be in that 12 to 15 pound range. If I need heavier line, I'm going to step up to a different rod. This is a fantastic jig rod, feeling sensitive bites. It's got a good tip on it, casts really well. I'll go up to a 1/2 ounce jig on that model. Now, if I need heavier line or a bigger jig, I'm simply going to step up to the iRod 754 Air, and there you'll see that bigger jig on there. That one happens to have a Rage Craw trailer. Again, we're just trying to figure out what size jig we can get away with fishing. Okay, sometimes we can fish the full size jig like this one here. Other times we need to use the finesse jig. Fall means finicky at times, and if they're finicky, it doesn't mean we can't get them to bite. They'll still bite. We just need to figure out how to trigger them. That finesse jig for me a lot of times is a great way to do it. The other one I've been using quite a bit here on my home lake. This one's not a football. This is a flip-in, but it is the Beast Coast Okay, the Beast Coast finesse jigs are pretty good. That said, if I'm somewhere like Clear Lake where I'm dealing with bigger fish and I still need that finesse presentation, hands down, I'm going to that Bass Union, okay? Round rubber jig, good strong hook, light weed guard. This happens to be a 3/4 ounce, okay? The weight has nothing to do with if it's finesse or not. It has more to do with the size of the jig. And something you can do with this, where if you need it more finesse, you can take the strands of skirt and you can cut out the ones that are going to the back. So essentially, you're going to remove half of the skirt, which I know I did one. There we go. So this is a good comparison of the difference of what it is I'm talking about between these two jigs. This one, I cut out the ones going to the back. This one is straight the way they come. So basically, I tried to remove all the interior skirt. Now it does a couple of things for you. First and foremost, it gives you a little bit more of a finesse presentation, okay? Less material. The other thing it does is it really exposes your trailer on that hook there so that it gives it more of a natural profile of a crawdad. There's our beastie bug. This is the 3.8. So on the, I like to take that second little ring there, shorten her down. Even though I'm shortening it, this bait is still bigger in every way, shape, and form. Okay, it's bigger around, the claws are bigger, and there you have the dressed jig. Okay, you'll see you get a little bit more profile on the inside from the trailer. Very good looking jig. That jig is going to get hammered. Okay, I'm just matching that beastie bug to the size of the jig and the profile, what I'm looking for. Now, if I'm looking for smaller, I can even shorten up some of these strands. I could use the, even shorten that trailer up more. On the Bass Union, I'm not going to go to that Beastie Bug Junior. The claws are a little too small for it. I will either use that or I will use a Yamamoto flapping hog in the 3.75, so the smaller size flapping hog. Those are really my two choices for fall. You saw that Rage Bug on the full size jig. The only time I'm going to that is when I've already verified that the fish are really, really aggressive, and now I'm rotating different jigs through an area. Okay, if I'm rotating, it means I'm on something that's loaded with fish, and I'm just giving them different looks. Okay, I'm gonna make a few casts with one, I'm gonna rotate, or as long as I'm catching them, I may keep throwing it. If I'm looking for a bigger bite because it's smaller ones biting, then I may go to a different one. Doesn't always mean it's gonna be the bigger one that gets the bites. It could be some sort of combination that you have. So I'm not typically gonna have all three baits the same combination with jig and trailer. They're probably going to vary a little bit in color. They're going to vary a little bit in profile. And they vary in the rod and line strength as well. One important thing I think with jig fishing, and I think I watch a lot of videos, and I hear a lot of people say or talk about they never go under 15-pound test. Now, for me, I just don't understand that. A lot of times I catch a lot more fish with 10 to 12, and if I'm fishing a finesse jig like this where I don't have a lot of weed guard, I mean, that thing's gonna go down no problem. I'm more concerned about getting bit. And these are not flipping jigs. We're fishing these out off the bank. There's really not a whole lot of stuff for me to worry about. Now, if I'm pitching into cover and that kind of stuff, I'm gonna use 17 to 20. Most of the time I'm using 20, but if I'm out in open water, fishing rock piles, fishing some other sort of structure, I like to fish a lot of areas that have isolated rock. There's really not a reason that I need to have real heavy line. And I still believe that you get more bites on lighter line. All right. Okay, I hope these two techniques help you catch more fall fish. I'm Sean, the Average Angler. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.